Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the panel. We are back. Rochelle is still in Greece. We're not jealous at all. Ije looks as if she's in Portugal, but she's not.
Wales,
She's
honey,
in.
Wales.
Oh, are you in Wales? Oh, are you in Wales? Oh, because it's bank. It's not bank. It's half term. It's half term. Yeah. This is my brother-in-law. I keep saying that. I keep saying that EJ's boyfriend is gonna get me a brother because he does everything for her, and so I'm like, yeah, you can do one of them. And so Rochelle's already got one of those, so yeah, he's my brother-in-law. How are we doing?
Well,
Great.
it was raining this morning. Now it's sunny, so let's not jinx it, but things are looking good. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Rochelle, how's your holiday going?
Oh, really nice. Like, honestly, having kids that are 8 and 10, I just like hardly see them. Like Joshua has just got so many friends. Like he's just constantly making new friends, and he becomes like absolute best friends with them. Like, and he's got this little boy gang of like 7, 8, and 9-year-olds.
Oh.
Maisie is quite like she's very chilled in the day, and then she comes alive at night. A bit like me, actually. I'm very much a night owl. But yeah, neither of them are interested in doing anything with us. We've managed to drag them on a few walks, but most of the time, me and Chris are just like having a walk on our own and stuff like that because they're too busy for us.
What part of Greece are you in, Rochelle?
Halkidiki.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not because it's further north than a lot of Greece. It's not as hot as further south, but it's still been nice. I think we had one day of rain on Sunday. It was freezing, but the rest of the time's been really nice.
I remember going on holiday too, and I can never remember the place because I've got so many. Like, I used to go on holiday a lot. I don't do it as much as I'd like to anymore. And Falaraki.
Oh yeah, I've not been there.
Went to
Oh,
Falaraki.
yes. I just come back from there not so long ago.
How did you find it? How did you find it, EJ?
Well, we went off. Do you know, I'm going to change where I'm sitting because I think the internet is problematic. But we went off season. So we went to Rhodes. Because it was off season, it was perfect. I don't know if I would have been able to handle it during the summer season. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. We went off season. We actually went the weekend when Prince William and Catherine got married. So I remember actually sitting in the hotel in my room for God knows how many hours after eating, watching this. It was on TV because I think when we went, I think we had mobile phones, but I don't think you could stream or anything. I don't think YouTube.
Yeah.
That's how old it was. But yeah, I know. But I do remember going and I had a lovely time. And it's quite an interesting topic because, you know, I thought it'd be really good for us to talk about, first and foremost, and stuff. Let's go it back to front because we're going to touch on this later, but we're only on for like half an hour today. So any news from Liverpool? Because I know you live in the Wirral and stuff.
Yeah.
Any news and thoughts? I don't know if you've heard, Rochelle, and stuff about what happened in Liverpool. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Day before, I think.
Day before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it happened right outside my office, so I can't go to work at the moment. It happened right outside our office building, so we keep getting emails to say it's closed till further notice. And I think businesses in that area, that's similar to what they're being told. I don't know for certain because I wouldn't go into the city center now, you know, because I can imagine what it will feel like. But for now, I know certainly public service buildings are shut.
Such a shame. I mean, I don't think anybody's lost their life, right? I don't think.
No, which is miraculous. Because 4 people were stuck under the car and had to be pulled out by firefighters.
Yeah.
So it's just a miracle that nobody's lost their lives. Thank God, because
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you it makes you realize you just never know what's going on with people, do you, and stuff. It's like, what could have possessed somebody and everything else, and what they must have been on. Like, you almost can't imagine it. And all I kept on thinking was, how did they get in? How did they
oh,
get behind the
well,
ambulance and stuff? So crazy, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
I think it's one of those things that, like, whenever a terrorist attack or anything like that happens, it fills you with dread and concern of like ever since like the Manchester bombings. Now, like if I go to an arena, there's always that, like, I don't want to be scared. I don't want it to stop me from doing the things that I want to do. But there's always that fear in the back of your mind, like, and it's almost like you're imagining like what those people must have gone through. They're just going there to have a good time, celebrate the team winning, and all of a sudden this horrific thing happens in front of their eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about the Manchester bombings, because when you said the Manchester bombings, I was like, oh, I didn't know you were there. And then I'm realizing that you're talking about the one in the arena, aren't you? You're,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
you're talking
I
about,
wasn't there, but I mean, when I go into an arena,
Of
it's that
course,
that's
yeah,
what. Yeah,
yeah.
of course. See, I mean, if I'm honest, I don't go to a lot of big events. I think if you see me at a big event, it's normally a personal development event rather than a music event or anything. But talking about the Manchester bombings, I was actually on my way into. I used to live in Manchester. I studied in Manchester years ago, and I used to. I remember walking into town all these years ago, and the actual Arndale Centre bombings. I got caught in it.
Mm,
And stuff. I was walking into town quite relaxed and everything else. And at the time, I used to work for Barclaycard as a temp. And as I was walking in, literally glass all around me just shattered,
hmm.
completely shattered. Um, and the town was just left in disarray. But the impact was awful, just awful. And it makes you, I mean, I know that we haven't lost anybody here, thank God, but it does make you sort of like rethink things. And we get back to
Mm,
normal very quickly as well. We're very resilient as human beings, but just glad that nobody got hurt. Glad nobody got hurt. And I
yeah.
thought
And
we'd
I come
touch
from
on
a
it.
part of the world where, yeah, I was gonna say this was a weekly occurrence for me growing up at one point, because we
Oh,
had a terrorist group called Boko Haram in Nigeria, in the
yes,
northeastern
you
part of
did.
Nigeria,
Yeah.
which is where I'm from. And there was a time when the fear, I mean, it happens, like you said, it happens once, we bounce back, we're a bit weary, then it happens again, then it happens. So for me, it happens again, then it happens again, then it happens again. Then all of a sudden, you're living in perpetual fear. You don't trust
Mm,
anybody anymore, because the person
mm,
standing next to you could be the person holding
mm,
a bomb. You don't, your lifestyle completely changes. People see where you live as an undesirable part of the country, and all of a sudden one person's actions just just has so, that's why I get so angry. This Liverpool thing, the Southport one, anything, the Manchester bombings, I take it, it becomes a bit too personal for me. I get really angry because I know the more we hear these things happening, the
we're losing you a bit, EJ.
so yeah, I don't know. I went off there for a second. Apologies.
No, it's okay. You were saying that you take a lot of these personally because it's affecting where you live. Can you hear us?
oh,
Oh,
it makes a change from it
Yeah,
being my
because the
signal.
impact that it has eventually, the more you
mhm.
hear about is you as a person, because you don't trust people anymore.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Anyway, we wish everybody all the best and stuff, and we keep on praying for world peace. That's all I can say. Keep on praying for world peace. On to another topic. You ladies, mamas, mama bears, you're on holiday. You're still working. you're still running a business. How do you do it? I was thinking about this. I was actually being quite selfish about it myself because, again, for anybody that listen, I don't have children, and the other day I just found myself literally working back to back to back to back to back. Like literally, I was just like, and if I don't put time in to go, this is when you're going to eat, it doesn't happen, or it happens later, or anything else. And then I always go back to, what about the moms out there? What about, because I think you guys are amazing. I have no idea how you manage it. Because not only do you have to look after yourselves, but you also have to look after young people and partners, and you have to be somebody's, either supplier or employee and what have you and stuff. So how do you manage it all? Rochelle, you're on holiday. Tell us about yours.
So before I had children, I was the type of person that I'd go into work and I'd get on with my work. And if I finished at, say, 5:30, but if I had work to do, I would continue doing the work that I was working on until I'd finished it, and then I'd leave because I had that flexibility, kind of like what you've done. You're going to complete the task. You're not just going to like walk away from it half done. Then when I had Maisie, all of a sudden I had a hard deadline. Like I had to pick her up from nursery. So there was no like, even if I am in the middle of a task, even if the managing director desperately needs something from me, I'm sorry, it's not an option. I need to leave and pick my child up from nursery. So it does change the way that you work. And also I went from working full-time to working part-time. And all of a sudden I was like more efficient with my time. I was still pretty much, and I think most women experience this, you go part-time after having a child and you're still pretty much expected to do the same amount of work. You just have to be more efficient with your time. So it's about like, you don't have as many coffee breaks, you don't have you don't spend as much time, I suppose, considering and thinking about everything. You just do. And I think that's very much, and I think actually even before children I was probably still this type of person. I'm a doer, so I'm taking action, and it can be my biggest strength and my biggest weakness, where I'm not brilliant at planning as such, in that I'm not going to spend a week planning an activity. I'm just going to do the activity because I've not got time for all that extra fluff and the extra doing around it. I'm just going to go and do it. But yeah, sometimes that causes me trouble because planning can work really well and can be an important part, but I'm a doer because I have got the limited time. What's Ije gone? I've only got, also like now with school, so I have to drop them off. I don't get home until 9 o'clock. I have to pick them up at 3 o'clock. There's no negotiation on those times, so I have to fit my work into that time. Now they're at the age where they ignore me most of the time anyway, so I can then go, right, I've picked them up from school, I can start doing some tasks, but then they need feeding, and then they need putting to bed, and that, so there's always something else to be doing, so I can't be spending all my time doing work. And it can be very frustrating because I want to have successful businesses. I often want to work at times when I'm not able to. Like my prime time for working is between, say, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and working until probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. And with kids, that just doesn't work. But when I was at uni, I'd stay in bed until like midday, and then I'd get up, have some lunch, and then start working at 2. And that worked really well for me. And like I imagine at some point when the kids are older, I probably will go back to more that sort of evening working routine. And like me, I was explaining earlier about what Maisie's like, my 10-year-old daughter. She's very like, she's not like it at school, but like at the weekends and on holiday, she's quite sleepy and tired during the day. And then it gets to like 5 o'clock and she's like, right, what are we going to do now? And she's full of energy.
Full of energy.
And yeah, I think it is different sort of personality types.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like,
Ije says she's backstage. Can you let her back on?
Oh, does she want to come back in now? Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure. I was watching you, Ije, and I was like, oh, she's probably had to take a call, so I didn't.
better, because I don't know, whenever I go on that laptop, somehow it's not very clear. So I hope you can see me and hear me okay.
We can
Yeah,
see you and hear you okay. So how do you do it, EJ? How do you do it all as a mum, as a girlfriend, as an employer, an employee and businesswoman and speaker and magistrate? How?
My smartphone is my best friend. there is literally, there's very few things that I cannot get done on my phone. Yeah.
Right.
And and they tell us this thing about how we're women and we know how to multitask. It is true. We do know how to multitask. But what I'm learning, I think, I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say this now, is about working smart and not just working hard. So where my children are concerned, I like to make life easy for myself. My kids are 10 and 7 years old, and they know how to make themselves breakfast, because breakfast sometimes is cereal. It could be some kind of sandwich, or I have put things in place that they can put on their plate and eat. So that side of things, when I wake up in the morning, if I'm working and not off on holiday, then they can do that side of life for themselves. In terms of the everything else, my day is in chunks. So my working day, I start working, this is for my day job now, not the business side of things. My day job, I start working at 7 o'clock and I finish at 3. Come rain, come shine, I'm done at 3. But also I do have a lot of help. I was one of those super women who was, independent, survivor, strong Black woman, boss lady, all that kind of stuff. And then I realized that actually that's not helping anybody. So whenever I get the offer of help, I take it. So when I'm in Wales, for instance, sorry, my boobs are not this big. It's just the angle. Apologies. I'm just looking at it. I'm thinking, what's going on?
I must say, I did looking for. Oh, it's just a camera angle.
It's a camera. I hold my iPad up like this because I'm feeling like
I had competition.
Right, it's the camera angle. They're not that big. Anyway, yeah. So I accept help and I accept rest. That's one thing. Women, we used to. I think we've been brought up to think there's some kind of medal for burnout. You don't medal for burnout. And at the end of the day, if you do burnout, you're cheating yourself out of a full life.
Yeah.
What I'm able to do, the things I'm able to pack into my day may not be the same that another person is able to pack into their day. So they would be making a mistake if they compared themselves to me. I would be making a big mistake if I compared myself to somebody else, because you might see me running around like a flipping mad chicken without a head from Monday to Friday, but on Saturday, I probably will not get out of bed till 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So I think it's about knowing yourself and knowing what you can do when you can do it, rather than setting this standard based on somebody else's life, what other people are able to achieve.
Yeah, I think, completely. It's funny. My sister and I were talking about this yesterday. My sister's got 4 children and she had them back to back, back to back and stuff. And she's, she runs a household. She definitely supports her husband's business and, she's a social worker and stuff. So it's, she's got a very high demanding job as life as well, as most of us have. And it's one of those where we're talking about the women's need to almost be that super mom. And I think in Africa, especially, you used to get made to feel guilty if you weren't that super mom, like almost like you had to be there at all times. And I'm so lucky that my mom was quite a modern mom when she was bringing us up. So my mom, I think she stopped. We can hear a bit. It's okay, Rochelle. We can hear a bit. There's music happening around Rochelle.
Oh, it's because Chris just walked in. Chris,
it's okay.
Can you shut the door, please, so I can hear the music?
Holiday vibes.
At the end of the world. You've made him think that we're complaining about the music now.
We're complaining about it.
We're not.
He's shaking his head at me.
Um, yeah, so my mom, for example, when she had especially the last two kids, she stopped breastfeeding like at two years old, at 2 months, and she went on holiday without the kids and stuff, and like she'd go on holiday, and just to wean them off the breast milk and stuff, she was like, you know what I mean, like, and it's not that she stopped breastfeeding them, but they weren't dependent on her. So when she came back, she could go back to work gradually. And I don't know how long it took her to be on maternity leave. I need to ask her that actually. But it's quite an interesting one. And my mom's always worked. My mom's worked in the bank, you know. So and my mom's had like really senior positions in the bank. And most other women, get this, most of the women in Cameroon at the time were teachers. So if you saw a woman who worked, the likelihood was that she was involved in the schools in some way. She was either a teacher or a teaching assistant. And I found out recently that it was the only role most African men or Cameroonian men were happy with, because their wives would be home when they got home from work, so that there'd be still be food on the table. I didn't know this. I was like, really? I was like, I've never thought, because all the women I knew were all teachers. They all worked in the school somehow. My mum was like an anomaly where she worked in a bank, so she got home either the same time as my dad or later and stuff. So it was a different. So my mom's really shown us a dynamic, and my mom used to be involved in so many church choirs and church events and stuff. So 7 days a week, my mom was busy, and we'd see her in bits. But we learned how to cook. I learned how to cook at the age of 11. So we were quite independent. We could survive and everything else. And my mom was there to do the discipline more than anything else. But overall, I think if I had children, I think I would probably go towards that way. But it's still a lot to do, though, right? It's still a lot to manage, even if you've got support.
In the UK, so something I've always said, because I didn't grow up in the UK, like you, with the African household, you have people who you pay. You have the maids, you have the people who run the errands, you have the people who who you pay to do these jobs, or you have your cousins, your aunties, your sisters, people who are living in your house doing this work for free. So something that I keep saying is, when I moved to the UK, the life admin have a family in the UK. Honestly, it's not something that you're told about. It's not something that
talk about this. We need to do a talk. We need to do a show about this, Ije.
My God, the life admin is unbelievable. So you grow, like my upbringing was, you go to, the parents go to work, the children go to school, you come home, and somehow bills are paid, you watch TV, you go to bed. But
somehow bills are paid.
Here, oh my word, do you know how many emails the kids are off school? Do you know how many emails I've received from the school? Then how many emails I've received from Girls Guides and Brownies? Then how many emails I'm getting from, like, it's just like,
it's a lot.
Yeah. So even like women who are not parents like yourself, the admin is required to just be there. Never mind, maybe women who maybe are not even working. They still have to work because there's too much admin in this. I'll just be quiet now.
No, don't listen. You know what? It's so interesting, because I think this is where this conversation came from. I was actually sat here the other day, and I was just like, I was just like, I don't know. I literally didn't know which way to turn. And it was the fact that, and I explained this to my mom, because again, my mom lives in Africa, and she's going to be 80 soon and stuff. So, but my mom still is involved in 2 schools, and she runs a household and stuff. But to be fair, she has someone who helps her in the morning. Like, there's somebody who goes out and buys food. There's somebody who cooks for her. That, she has, again, the African setup. And we need to talk about this, because there's a perception about Africa. And actually, when you live well in Africa, you live well in Africa. You can live well in Africa with very little, but there are people to do things for you. So I've always been used to having things done for me. And it's almost like an expectation of, somebody will just pick that up, somebody will deal with it.
Deal with it.
And it's really funny because even my own home and stuff, it's like the other day I cleaned my office and cleaned my home and stuff, and I was so impressed with myself. And I was like, people do that every Saturday. Like they get up in the morning and just clean the house. To me, I'm just like, if the cleaner doesn't come, it doesn't get done and stuff. Like it's just one of the, like, to me, it's just like it's a thing. Like they need to come in and do it. But yeah, the other day I was sat here and I was just like, I am exhausted from doing everything. And I get the whole thing about working smart, but again, when you're on your own, there's nobody, like literally, if there's nobody to come and do it. And if I need someone, so for example, I've got 2 lights that have fallen from the ceiling, like the holders have fallen, and if I lived near Rochelle, she'd have got it sorted. Chris would have come and done it. But but you know, it's like even just to get those 2 things done, I'm like, I need to get someone to come and do it, and then I'm going to have to pay them to do it and stuff. It's like it's not. Everything is just like, oh my god! Like if I'm eating, then there's no work being done. If I'm working, then there's no food being cooked. If I'm like literally, I feel like a thermostat and stuff. And and it made me just think. It's a really good topic to delve into, Rochelle.
I think it's about prioritizing, isn't it? It's going like what's most important to me right now. What do I need to do? And it's that, like, you often, Victoria, you'll go for a nap, won't you? Because you know that if you don't go for a nap, you're not going to be productive. You're not gonna get any work done, and the work that you do get done is not going to be to a high standard. And you have to like take that time out for yourself and do it. Yeah, and that's it. And there'll be times when I go, I need to like in the half term and stuff, it'll be, I need to take the kids out. We need to go and do something. We've been in the house too much. I've not been giving them much attention. Or sometimes it's actually the kids are just going to have to have like technology days. They can just entertain themselves because I've got work that I need to focus on. And it's just going, what is that? Where can I give myself today? What needs my attention and my priority, and getting that balance. And I don't think there's ever a perfect balance. You always have to neglect something, but it's just what's the most important on that day. If I don't make money for the business, the kids don't get fed. I need to make money. If I but I also don't want to miss their childhood, but I also know that they don't need me all the time at the moment. Like that's not, they're not little anymore. They don't demand all my attention, but they still need some things like cooking for, and like
we're going to teach them being on holiday.
Victoria always like has a panic attack when Maisie will be cooking herself some pasta in the kitchen, and she's like, "You're not watching her." I'm like, "She'll be fine."
I mean, and it is about moving your day around. So, for example, after that day of thinking, literally, I am back to back, and it happens quite a lot, if I'm honest, it was about moving my day around. So it was like, okay, get to bed early. I mean, I get up early anyway, but it was like, get to bed early, because if I get to bed early, if I wake up early, then I don't feel like I've missed that much sleep. But if I go to bed late, I still get up early anyway. So it's about recalibrating the day. Healing, prayer, meditation is non-negotiable. Like if those 3 things don't happen in my life, I am an absolute mess and stuff, because to me, it's what sort of like focuses me in the morning and stuff. Like even like yesterday, I didn't have a great day emotionally and stuff. I don't know why. I was thinking,
she's missing me.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I actually think that it could be. I'm thinking because it's perimenopause as well. You never know when you're meant to be on. So I'm like, am I on or what have you done? I've just done a 3-day fast as well. So listen, I was all over the place. But last night, I was like, you go to bed early. I'm eating really good food. So I was like, just literally nurture yourself and look after yourself. And I promise you, I've had so much done today. It's been unbelievable. And for the first time, I actually wrote, like did creative writing in a long time. Yeah, in a long time. I was just writing and stuff. I was just like, I think I did two posts, all creative writing. And it was just because of sort of like just moving things around. So it can be done. You're right. There isn't a right or wrong. It is just about knowing yourself, as Ije says, and then working smarter.
Yeah, I have an analogy. Can I share this analogy before we go?
Please do.
So my mom taught me this because, what do they call it? Comparititis, when you compare yourself
Yeah,
to other people.
comparisonitis, yeah.
So she gave me this analogy and she said, imagine a clock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 hands on the clock: the second, the minute, and the hour. Somebody will observe the second hand and it's moving every second around the clock, right? It's constantly moving.
Mm.
But then you see the minute hand is moving just once a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But that move it makes that one move is equal to 60 moves of the second hand.
Yes.
And then the hour hand is never moving at all.
You see.
But when that hour hand moves,
It's an
equal
impact.
to 60 seconds and however many seconds of the minute hand. So just know where you are at the time, per time. You might be in a frenzy because you have the energy to be in a frenzy. But maybe perhaps once in a while, life requires you to be like the hour hand. It's not like you're not moving. It's that you're moving. There's more purpose to it. It's more on purpose. It's more deliberate. Or you might be the minute hand who is able to keep pace. But just know which one you are per time. And it changes. There are times when, like I said, people see me running around like a headless chicken. Oh, you're achieving so much. Oh, you're doing so much. You're doing so much. You've achieved this. You've achieved this. You've achieved this. But then they forget that I have very quiet months or very quiet periods where I'm thinking, well, what's going on? Nobody's called me to do a talk in the last how many months. I've not earned money from this or from that. People don't see that. So it's just know which one you are per time.
What people don't see, that can be our next conversation for next week.
What people don't see. Absolutely.
What people don't see, because I think that'd be a really interesting one. I think people see what they want to see, and definitely. I think that would be a really good conversation. But Ije, we should definitely talk about the whole African perception thing, because it's so interesting. I mean, the thought of a child or a relationship is just like, it's just a no-go. But I am just so I can have the help. I am ready for a husband. I'm ready for a husband, a house girl, a driver, a PA,
a gardener, laundry man.
See, I'm ready for all of that. So, I'll say this: it's like you'll get guys who will marry a girl, and the girl will come to the house and they'll go, "This is your chef. This is your driver. This is the person who washes your clothes. This is this," and you get like a team of people.
Yes.
And it's so funny because people in the Western world don't see Africa like that.
No.
And it is like it's that literally there's people there doing stuff, like literally just
everything is done by somebody.
And in a way it makes the woman sometimes look spoiled, because all she's got
spoiled. Imagine a woman like me, Victoria, moving to the UK. I nearly died.
See, you know what? Because I saw my mom do it. But I'll be honest with you, like my mom's, she'll not thank me for this, but she's 80. And I was like, you need to move around to get your blood circulation, because she would just sit there and she'd be like, she'll call someone. She goes, can you give me the remote control? I'm like, pick it up.
Yes. Oh my God.
Pick it up yourself. And she'd look at me like, I'm like, Mom, it's exercise. Get up. It's that. And my mom would be like, she'd be giving like side eye and everything. Like, you're being mean to me. I'm like, no. My mom would be like, get me a cup of water. I'm like, Mom, the kitchen's there. Go get yourself some water.
Sounds like my children.
Oh yeah, I know. And I've said to Rochelle, I'm like, you need to start getting them kids to do stuff, because like she fusses around. Her and Chris.
Chris is worse than me.
He is. But no.
Right, we need to go.
We do need to go. We will see you next week. Ije, I'll message you. Rochelle, I'll speak to you shortly. Take care.
Bye everybody. Bye.